So why do I make comments? As we all know online, when you are having an argument with somebody online or, having different opinions, we all kind of know that it doesn't matter what you say, because they don't care. They've made up their mind about what they think, and it is what it is. So it's like, oh, well, commenting online is just a waste of energy, right? No. No, oh my God, it's so fun. It's so fun. I I don't know if it's because I just like to debate things, especially when I have facts and knowledge, or if it's just because I have a lot of energy I need to get out. But either way, I do end up doing it because for me, the most important thing to keep in mind when you're online is everybody can see it. So when I'm having these silly little debacles about boomers or this and that and the other, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, whenever it comes to things that people have very strong opinions on, usually what you have to say isn't really going to change their mind on that. But it's not about them. It's never. It's never. So, whenever I'm making comments, the most important thing to me is the fact that everybody can see it. Whenever I'm defending, especially when I'm defending, but making a point that I think is really important to make, I really double down. So today, what we're going to do today is we're going to go through some of my most recent comments, and I'm just going to talk about stuff online that are, hot topics online, and they're not all super controversial. A lot of them are just going to be like relationship ones, and you're just going to be like, So, without further ado, are you okay, microphone? I was hoping he'd say his first words. I'm not sure if the camera got knocked out of place, but I'm here. I had to get a pillow because I wanted to lean back, but I wasn't about to, If I just start doing the thing, people will get through the hard parts. Like, oh, that's a good first comment. So let's go to the first comment of the day. I need to wait for my browser to load. This is not sponsored by Opera GX, because I think you heard that noise. Oh, and I'm screen recording too. Silly me. I love making AMVs. And by the screenshot, you can see how bad it looks. I used to screen record. I was 11 years old when I saw my first AMV, Avatar. And that was all I was interested was doing Avatar. I did Harry Potter, but I did it because when I realized that syncing music to video was like a thing, oh my God, just imagine how I felt when I realized that people sync their Christmas lights to music. Oh. I'm like that sponge lady. Oh. So it's really bad. I had a screen record. I was 11 years old in 2006 because my birthday's in December. And it wasn't the best. Even finding like certain audio was really hard because I liked to use trailer music, and it was a lot harder to find trailer music CDs. I used to go to the library and check out CDs. I mean, I loved books too, obviously. I almost said obviously, like everybody's gonna know that. I would get CDs and I would burn them, and like when I got one of my first iPods, I had like 2,000 songs on it. It's great, and all of them were free from the library or LimeWire. LimeWire is the OG. Wow, I watched this even with the quality of the video. That means it's good. Sorry about your other vids. Oh yeah, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but in 2009, suddenly like all of my videos disappeared, and I guess that was a thing that happened to a lot of people. I think I watched a YouTube video about like when videos suddenly disappeared in 2009. Like it happened to me, and I had to re-upload everything, which is irritating to me because I don't have access to this old channel anymore, so I can only see it from an outside perspective. And I know that there's some privated videos, and I did like delete some because these aren't good. Like, you're gonna look at this and don't look at this, don't. But if you were to, you would know it was not like professional. I was a child teaching myself how to edit in Vegas. Like, I started in Windows Movie Maker, And when I realized that the person who made Avatar Ambi is Raven HPLTC 242, I loved her videos. I mean, everybody did, but it was the inspiration. And like, I would do these videos that like she had also made, but I was just doing them for practice. I remember like a couple times I'd be like, I really hope she doesn't think I'm copying off of her, because, you know, I would use the same song, and obviously Avatar was the same source, but it wasn't necessarily to copy her. It was to learn how she was doing her effects, because I really, really liked how she could do those effects. I'm getting off the topic, but they're there. So, silly me. And that's your first comment. The first comment boils down to, I was using the most archaic techniques, and I did not know what I was doing. I was 11, 12 years old when I first started.
But despite being a kid who didn't really know what I was doing, people were still willing to put in the effort to watch and genuinely seemed to enjoy it sometimes. So that was really cool and really motivating and very important for me to see. Comments are very important.
Next comment. Are you ready for a very non-big issue?
If you can't read it with it being small, it says POV, you're a walk casually person and you're married to a walk with purpose person.
Top comment. I personally think that is so rude and uncaring. Dated a man that did that, and it was one of the most hurtful things about how he treated me. I said, I agree. I'm a purpose walker. I go fast as fuck, boy. Started off with the humor. But everybody, friends, family, partners, I not only stop for, but I look behind me every minute or so to check on them and wait for them to catch up. Always in front, but never more than a few feet, and I check on people so I don't get too far ahead. Makes my ADHD brain go, forcing myself to stop, but it's so much more important to me that they're not tripping or dealing with something I'm not aware of. Plus, it's hard to have conversations so far apart. I usually walk with people in the woods or events that I don't want them getting fucked up out there when I can't help. You're right. The right person won't leave you behind, at least not without frequently checking in on you. Because, I mean, I said it. I go to the woods a lot. I like walking and hiking. I haven't really been doing it a lot because I don't really have anybody to do it with, and I prefer to do it with people. But whatever it is, the point is like, I check up on them. They could trip over something. They could be having trouble walking up the hill. They could, you know, what if they fall into the lake, my guy? You just, you know, you want to keep an eye on people that you care about. And when I'm walking on the street, I'm probably trying to have a conversation with the person I'm with. And I'm not about to sit here and like shout so that they can hear me all the way back there. I like to... Everybody's different. But I do what I do out of consideration to others. My brain does not like to slow down. As a matter of fact, it screams at me when I stop and wait for somebody to catch up. It's like, go. But because I've been able to overwrite that simply with the desire to be present for the people I love, it doesn't even bother me anymore. I realized that a few months ago when I was walking with somebody and my brain went, I don't want to stop, I don't want to slow down, but it didn't matter because I was already doing it. And it only takes 2 weeks to make a habit. Once we start training our brains to do something, they're going to start doing them correctly. And so that's kind of like my point I'm making here. This is a very non-big issue, but that's a good point to have because then keep up. It goes both ways. I walk fast and I find it extremely annoying to have to keep slowing down to a snail's pace for people. But I put up with it because these people are more fun to hang out with and now annoying their paces. If that was the most hurtful thing a guy could do to you, consider yourself lucky, because I guarantee he wasn't doing it on purpose or maliciously at all. First of all, I highly doubt that was the worst thing that happened to her. people are so quick to minimize the feelings of others when in reality we just don't know. I said that's the point, but contextually I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense. But I said that's the point. You have to make a conscious decision to slow for others. That's why it's so respectful and a sign of emotional control and maturity. If they're not worth the effort, just say that instead. Some of us just want to be good people for the ones we love. I'm talking about walking in the woods or going to conventions or walking downtown, casual stuff. If we're in a rush, then I'd politely ask them to go faster. If there's a time limit, just plan for more time or respectfully ask them to keep up. If you've proven that you can slow down for them, they probably won't argue about speeding up for you. Just saying, it's a two-way street. And I'm going to make another point, like the biggest point. I'm getting there. He replied, he deleted the comment. He said, well, you're just being contradicting. Like the guy that I was talking to through all of this just like deleted all his comments. And it happens a lot on Facebook. But again, like the point of me posting these comments is because I know that the person I'm talking to, I can't look at the camera, that the person I'm talking to has already made up their mind about what their opinion is. I'm not here to change people's minds. What I'm here to do is have engaging conversation that other people who are either unsure of their viewpoint or even just willing to learn new perspectives are going to see it, and they're going to be like, okay, this is a rational thing to think. This is a rational comment that I haven't seen on this post yet. Let's be better. And it can spread like wildfire. Our words are so valuable, and we waste it. We waste it all the time. And then he said something about how it's just as easy for slower people to catch up with faster people. Like, it should be a two-way street. There's no reason why slow people can't keep up with the fast people. And I'm like, I disagree. A lot of people are slower. There's so for so many reasons, first of all, but for shorter legs, because of shorter legs, chronic pain, exhaustion, etc. Because there's a whole list. There's a whole list of reasons why somebody cannot, or why it would be so uncomfortable for them to do that. It's oftentimes easier for the fast person to slow than the slow person to catch up. Because if you're going fast, you have energy. If you are slowing down, it means that you are telling that energy to calm down, bro. Just chill out. Like I say, when I stop and I want to go fast and my brain is like, oh my God, what are you doing? Keep going fast. I have to have that regulation and that self-control to stop and do that. That only makes me a better person. And people's reasons is just not, they don't wanna. But having a physical slowness is so much different. You can't just physically suddenly be faster and stronger and quicker. That's something you have to slowly work towards if you're even able to do that. But on the other hand, if you're going too fast, it's because your brain is making you go fast, and you can slow it down super easy. And if you can't have that mental fortitude to do something that simple, how are you going to hold back your anger? How are you going to react whenever things go poorly for you? And that's what this all boils down to. It's a very good life skill to have. It's not about the distance. It's about why there is distance between you and somebody else that you are accompanying. It's a lack of care for other people. And it's disheartening, because why are you about to argue about your feelings about this when you disregard everybody else's feelings? And that's the thing about the internet that always just gets to me, is we can't just put ourselves in each other's shoes. We can't treat others the way that we want to be treated, because there's a lot of reasons why. But it does just boggle my mind. In the time of the internet, learning and improvement is so easy. And people just don't do it. They don't want to. If they do it, it's hard. If they do it, it's uncomfortable. If they do it, they get backlash. Yeah. Such is life, bro. But it beats being a crappy fucking person. So now let's get two more. Just two more. Because I talk too much. Chick-fil-A. They left me outside for 3 hours yesterday. Worker refuses to buy a uniform jacket and freezes in the cold while working outside. So, because we live in a lovely dystopian, whatever. Basically, the gist is that they wanted him to pay out of pocket for a company jacket. It had to be a company jacket. And it's just going over comments. So there's really not a whole lot to see here. It's one of those things where it's not illegal. It can be seen as, oh, this guy shouldn't be, such a loser who should, man up and just be in the code or something like that. I don't know. Because we like to make people feel bad for speaking out about being uncomfortable. I don't know. I think that should be allowed, but whatever. And honestly, if I wanted to be bitter, I could see, well, why the fuck are you working at Chick-fil-A then? Don't work at Chick-fil-A. But that's not the point. That's not the point at all. The point is that companies could do it and they don't. So let me put my glasses black. God, I need to clean them. Back to the post. All fast food places are like this. Law says that if a uniform is required, it is to be supplied by the employer, but for some reason, winter clothing is excluded from being a part of the essential uniform. I spent years freezing in drive-through windows and working outside in winter because of this ridiculous loophole. No one should have to spend a portion of their paycheck to buy a part of their uniform. If you expect to wear a company coat, it should be provided. And I made a comment, I still have my free Pizza Hut manager jacket. I haven't worked there in years, but it's the comfiest, warmest goddamn jacket I've ever had. Been meaning to cover up the logo with a patch. I just also have bills. So I haven't gotten one, even though they're pretty cheap. I do eventually want to cover up that Pizza Hut logo, but for now people are going to think I still work for Pizza Hut. I don't care. It's a comfy jacket and a really well-made jacket. And it was free. They were only given out to management, but pretty dope and definitely proof that companies could do that if they wanted. But most places let you wear your own jackets as long as they're plain. Some don't even care if they're plain, which is true. I think of all the jobs I've had, most of them have let me worn my own jackets. The majority of them, 50% or so of them are just make sure it's plain and it doesn't have any patterns on it. And then the other half are just we don't care. just wear what you want. It's one of those things where companies are all going to be different. But the fact of the matter is that if they wanted to provide the jackets, they could. They can afford it. Companies can afford anything at this point. To put it on the responsibility of their minimum wage, underpaid workers who can probably not even afford rent on their own, that's kind of silly. Because you could pay their rent for the rest of their lives. And it wouldn't make a dent in your finances. And then I wanted to show one more comment. I still have mine from Ucrops way back in 2008. I don't know what company that is. I do not. But what I do know is that 2008 is a long time to have a jacket. And then I made the comment, I'm not surprised the jacket would make it that long, because they used to make things last, like employees. I thought that was funny. This person said, I have my Land's End winter coat from a previous job. I love this thing. I turned in everything else, but I'm wearing this coat when I'm 80. I love to hear that. So that's pretty cool. Capitalism. So here's the last one, the very controversial one. So as we know, there were the back-to-back hurricanes. There's a lot that can be said about that, but I'm not here to talk about infrastructure or anything like that. I'm here to talk about this video. I, like everybody, damn near, really love animals, and I'm also always like very wary of. I know it's really easy to make things look cuter or more affectionate than things really are, so I'm always like very careful about that on the internet. This isn't what I think this is, by the way. Animal videos always like spark a lot in people. It's easier for people to empathize with animals than people. Um, but that also means that there's a lot of controversy. So, as we all know, people were really mean to Floridians who weren't evacuating. And there's a few key points. Let's just jump into it. So, pretty much all throughout the hurricane, people were just shaming people. Why are you not evacuating? Why are you leaving your pets? Why are you doing this and that and that and this? And there's just my answer to people who want to judge others' situations during an emergency is, first of all, go through an emergency yourself and then speak up. You have nothing valuable to say here. And second of all, you never know what's going on with people. You never know. I think it is awful to judge the second we see a situation, because we as people are able to make these connections in our head of all the different possibilities, all of the different reasons, all of the different aspects to the situation. There are so many things that influence each other that for us to sit here and think that this is negligence, this is abuse, this is stupidity is wrong. And all of those things are just projections at the end of the day, if that's how you think. That being said, I'm not going to really get into any of those comments, but what I am going to get into is this comment. Some people leave home to work and spend 10 or 12 hours away from home. A few years ago, my city was flooded in 2 hours while I was at work and all my pets were at home. Think before judging, please. And that's, the point I just made. You never know somebody's situation, and to sit here and shame them and make them feel awful is just bad. Like, there were a lot of people that during the hurricane had to bunker down because it was, actually genuinely safe for them to do that. There are areas that aren't going to flood, and as long as you keep an eye on the radar, you're going to be okay. There were just like a lot of content creators and stuff that were like dealing with it. And obviously there's, bad people doing stupid stuff, but that's not the majority of it. So I said, I think it's because people are so quick to jump to the conclusion that people are irresponsible. Irresponsible for not leaving, irresponsible for not bringing pets. But it's a huge challenge to leave, and not all areas are deadly to be in. Things like generators, water, and gas were all depleted from the back-to-back storms. Gas stations were out of gas, and if you're going to a shelter, many don't allow pets. There weren't enough flights to go around, and the airlines were price gouging for limited flights. And I should have said seats. And so many more individual experience I couldn't even begin to list. People are reaching to find evil in others because they don't have the guts to deal with their own. It's cowardice and insecurity. I always hope for the best to those who suffer. It just breaks my heart to see that people have to suffer every day, because there are solutions to all of our problems, but we aren't allowed access to that. And something as simple as taxing these billionaires, which is how we got out of the Great Depression, this is just economics, would get us out of our current rut in poverty and not being able to afford the essentials. But it's price gouging, like the airlines, like they keep taking advantage of people who are suffering. The more that people suffer, the more the companies profit. And there's got to be a fucking point where we realize that, like, we got to stop blaming each other for all this shit, because there's only so much that we can do in this system. And like that's the point that I take out every single time is the individual responsibilities only go so far. Not everybody realizes their personal power, and not everybody can speak up for what they need to speak up for. So that's why it's important for people like me to make comments like this. Period. Bottom line. And I know I get kind of I get kind of snappy with the cowardice and insecurity, but like it really is. It's just projecting your feelings of incompetence onto other people, and it's no. It's not how we do it. It's not how we do it. Okay. No excuses or reasons makes it okay to leave pets behind in these situations. I hate comments like this because it's like, dude, I literally just covered that. And as we all know, media literacy is pretty dead. But I stand firm that trying to shame victims for anything that happens to them because they could have done it better is just really weak. And I say that people are projecting because you have to have a weak ass mindset to sit there and take out all of these feelings on somebody who is suffering. I hate it. I hate it because like I wouldn't, obviously. I have a car. If a hurricane hit Indiana, wish it won't. I mean, they do technically, but it's just like a regular monsoon season for us. If it were to happen, I have a car. I can put my cats in my car. They are small, they fit in my car, and they can travel with me. Of course, I wouldn't leave my cats behind. That's insane. Imagine thinking that way and not being able to do that because flights half the time can't make accommodations for the animals. If people are in poverty, that's enough already to like make it so that they can't. Hotels are sold out, and the ones who aren't pet friendly because the pet friendly ones are probably the ones that fill up first. Obviously, it's so situational, and making blanket statements about things that you don't even know what it's like to go through is weird. It's weird. It's weird how we're holding everybody to these weird expectations. I'm sure they wish they could do these things, but that's not logical. It's not feasible. And it's cruel to sit there and say, hey, you're a piece of shit because your life was unfortunate, and that makes you a terrible person. When did we decide that that was okay? That's so counterintuitive. That's not what we're here to do. So, with that, I wrap it up. I hope I talked your ear off plenty. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to start doing this regularly. I think that this is why all my eggs are in different baskets, is so I can do this YouTube thing. So, I'll see you next time.